Hi, I'm Pam, and I'm here to talk about retro video games. Today, I'm talking about one of the classics. As someone who loves metroidvanias and vampires, I really had to finish this one at some point. So I finally did. It's Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Symphony of the Night was made by Konami and released for PlayStation in 1997. It's a metroidvania, or, for those of you who take issue with that subgenre name, it's a two-dimensional, non-linear, action-adventure, map-based exploration platformer game. Oh, that's good. That rolls right off the tongue. You play Alucard, off to explore Dracula's castle, which is back, again, and eventually battle the big bloodsucker himself. But, in a twist for the series, you are Dracula's son. You are battling for your very soul as your father's bloodlust tries to take over your human mother's gentle spirit. You're also so much prettier than any of the previous protagonists, though Richter has also received an upgrade. This video, as you can probably tell by the title, is going to focus on why the game is great, along with a few things I could live without, but mostly why I love it. First, let's talk about the opening. Symphony throws you right into things. There's a brief, three-dimensional look at Dracula's castle, and then you get to experience the end of a previous game, the last time Dracula was defeated by Richter Belmont. Though facing a difficult boss fight that happens before you've had any chance to learn, never mind master the controls, might seem unfair, it really can't go all that badly for you. One of the major appeals of games like this is character progression, starting out weak with very few abilities available to you and eventually growing stronger until you're a master of both combat and exploration. As Richter, you get a taste of that. Even when you start the game for real as Alucard, you're quite strong. Though your health pool may not be all that impressive, you've got a cool sword with a long reach and run through the castle one-shotting zombies and wargs. But then you run into Death, who takes all your equipment away. Giving you a brief taste of your possible strength gives you something to look forward to. Controlling Alucard feels great. He's not the most quick or agile of characters, but he's responsive, has a good jump, and a great backwards dash to get out of harm's way. In fact, maybe the dash is a little too good. Anytime I see a clip where someone is backwards dashing through the entire game because it's faster, I want to yell, "Please stop! You're making Alucard look like an idiot!" The control scheme is intuitive, and the game really makes the most of it by including special magical abilities that use moves like quarter circles that seem right out of a fighting game. Symphony of the Night makes great use of Alucard's nature of being half human and half vampire in order to provide the abilities that will let you progress through the game. As you explore and defeat bosses, you'll be able to transform into a bat, a wolf, or even mist that lets you pass through grates. But it doesn't stop with just the granting of these abilities. You can also build upon them, gaining new relics to enhance each one. Plus, there are some of the more common abilities, like double jump, and a whole lot of upgrades to your stats and maximum health or heart values. And of course, there are a variety of sub-weapons, most of which are familiar if you've played previous Castlevania games. The boss fights are incredible. The leveling system and presence of potions and foods to restore health means most of them aren't overly challenging, but they're so unique in their appearances and attack patterns. I love the mythical sea creature Scylla, which has the torso of a woman, extra dog heads, and eel-like tentacles. Malphus is a beautiful winged creature who shoots out sharp feathers and energy spheres. Some bosses are wonderfully repulsive, like the giant globe of bodies who floats around, dropping walking corpses on you and enclosing a tentacled inner core. And of course, there's a doppelganger, because you can be your own worst enemy. The game gives a constant, satisfying feeling of progression. There are just so many things to find and so many ways to get more powerful. You gain experience and level up as you fight, so while the game starts out a bit difficult, it doesn't stay that way for long. It also has an extensive inventory system, allowing you to choose the type of weapons, armor, and accessories you want to use. There are also a number of usable items, whether to buff or heal yourself or damage foes. This is the one place I have a complaint about how the game plays. While going into the menus to change up equipment every once in a while is fine, having to equip a limited use item, go back to the game, use the 3 or 4 instances of it you have, run out, then go back into the menu to equip something else, is really cumbersome. You also get access to various familiars who will help you in some way. Most will damage enemies, but also function as another way to gain access to new areas of the castle. The demon can hit out-of-reach switches to open passages, and the fairy will often point out secret areas when you're near them, as well as use healing items on you. Overall, there's just a ton of ways to get stronger and increase your abilities, and a huge variety of options in how you want to play. But the best thing about Symphony of the Night is the castle. It is impeccably designed, both in the layout and appearance of each area, and the representation of the map when you press select. Exploring and learning the map is so much fun. Every area has a really cohesive look and feel, which makes it very memorable. And the layout, as a whole, makes sense. Your path through the castle is full of offshoots and secrets. Some of them are obvious, showing you a path that you just don't have the ability to access yet. Maybe there's a grate blocking the way, or a jump is just a little too high. But you'll remember those places and want to go back to them later. Others are quite well hidden, with things like breakable walls and ceilings, or areas where you'll need to solve a bit of a puzzle to open them up. Though there are an abundance of items and power-ups to find, sometimes just discovering new areas of the castle is the best reward for making progress. Seeing the clock room for the first time was great, with its run-up of ticking grandfather clocks and the overwhelming sense that this is an important place. One area that really stood out was the long library, which is filled with books, many of which don't like you. And then the surprise that there's a librarian there who can sell you useful items and tell you useful things. And things just get more impressive from here. There are beautiful outdoor areas where the moon hangs oppressively over the broken parapets as the clouds roll by at an unnatural speed. The catacombs are filled with skeletons and gremlins, and the backgrounds show tableaus of those long dead. I loved coming across little rooms that served mostly to add atmosphere, like the confessional where you could kneel and confess your sins, to a spirit who may not be the forgiving sort. There's a gore-filled torture room inside the Colosseum and a telescope to find which might show interesting things outside the castle. And what is a Castlevania game without a fountain that's flowing with blood? There were a few places where the design just tickled me. There's a staircase fairly early on, which always gave me a bit of trouble ascending it. It's full of guards and skeletal heads which will breathe fire and just love knocking you back. At the very top, a spiked metal ball sits atop one of these skulls. Later, when I had a reason to descend the staircase, I killed that bone pillar, causing the spiked ball to bounce down, taking out every single enemy in its path. It was delightful. As I played, I wanted to uncover every single square of that map and see all the sights. It's actually possible to stumble into the game's ending, or at least one of the endings, fairly fast, but even after I did this, I just kept going back for more. To get the better endings, you need to explore the entire castle again, but this time it's upside down. I will admit that the design of the inverted castle doesn't work quite as well as the regular one. There are a number of areas where you're kind of forced into using bat form more than is ideal. It's just not as quick or nice to control as your regular form. But this is a really interesting idea. Rather than make more areas to extend the map and the length of the game, the inverted castle lets you build upon what you've already learned, while at the same time making everything feel a little disorienting. And when you finish the game for real, you still don't have to be done yet. You can play through the game again as Richter with his trusty whip. Though the map stays the same, this is more of a classic Castlevania experience. There's no inventory, weapon choices, or other RPG elements. I honestly didn't play too much as Richter. It's just hard to go back after Alucard. Symphony of the Night is one of the best looking and sounding games on the PlayStation. It has this amazing attention to detail with every room and every character sprite, and I was constantly impressed. Many things in the game definitely look familiar to previous Castlevania titles, but the jump to 32 bits and CD-ROM show just how excellent pixel art and especially pixel animation can get. Alucard's sprite is just beautiful. He moves so fluidly. His hair trails behind him as he runs and then whooshes forward as he comes to a stop. The movement of his cape is mesmerizing. Even though he's not the quickest character, the quality of animation really gives a good sense of momentum. Static backgrounds, especially those that involve murals or stained glass, are colorful and detailed. And all the elements with movement, like flickering candles, raging fires, or flowing waters, look natural. I also love the death effects of the various enemies. They don't just disappear or crumble onto the ground. Many have amazing animations and horrible death cries. There are bloody zombies who live up to their name and start spurting blood into the air. When you hit an armored flea, their weapon and armor pieces go flying. Losoth, after the killing blow is struck, drops his lantern and sets himself on fire. And the Owl Knight, when you kill his companion, drops to his knees to mourn, leaving him open to your attacks. Also, I can't get enough of Dracula's confidently bored pose on his throne and tossing back of his drink when Richter challenges him at the beginning. There are so many little details that just seem to have a lot of love put into them, and they bring me joy. The soundtrack by Michiru Yamane is amazing. Finally, a Castlevania soundtrack I love in its entirety. Whether it's the sound of electric guitars, dramatic organs, haunting choral arrangements, or the Baroque music in the long library, everything sounds great and adds incredibly to the atmosphere. There's even the occasional unexpectedly jazzy track like Wandering Ghosts. I'm particularly fond of the guitar and drum-heavy beats like Dracula's Castle and The Tragic Prince. But also, I have a real soft spot for the uncomfortable creeping feeling given by the abandoned pit. But of course, no game is perfect. There were a few things that weren't to my liking. I know it's sort of a staple of the series, but knockback can be quite frustrating. Fuck this clockwork room and these Medusa heads in particular. Also, what's with the ballad over the credits after the good ending? Including these kinds of emotional vocal songs in games tends to be unbearable in the best of cases. But here, it's so out of place. It stands out embarrassingly among both the tone of the game and the rest of the excellent soundtrack. Also, despite almost every single character and enemy being gorgeous to behold, somehow Alucard's wolf form looks dumb. Like, really dumb. Did they assign this sprite to the intern or something? Okay, complaint section over. Symphony of the Night is incredible. It's a game I've started a number of times over the years, but always put down for some reason or another. Whether it's because I borrowed the game from a friend and needed to return it, or I just got frustrated by that staircase near the beginning of the game. But this time around, after I had developed such a love for this particular subgenre, something just clicked. I did not want to put it down until I had seen everything there was to see. The controls are great, the map design and ability progression are satisfying, and there are all of these incredibly gratifying little details in the art and animation. It truly is one of the best, and I obviously recommend it if you haven't played it yet. Thankfully, this is a game that's been made available on multiple platforms, so if you don't have the original PS1 version, although I do highly recommend it, or the Japanese Saturn version, you can also get it digitally on modern PlayStation or Xbox consoles. It's also available on mobile, but I can't speak to how well it controls there. If you want to see more, check out my review of Super Metroid, or another of my videos. I have a Patreon if you want to support the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.